Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Well, let's get you a quick update in terms of the markets. The Nifty is currently down around 69 odd points and the mid-cap index is just about a little lower, so down around 30 odd points. It had recovered from the day's low, but now you're seeing a little bit of incremental profit booking which is coming in for the mid-cap index at this point. It is a pressured global screen, so Shanghai at current reckoning is down around 3 odd percent, Hang Seng down around 2.6%. Crore Industries, there is some news coming in where I think there's an appeal which is filed by them. So this notice is versus the Singapore court decision which took place on 3rd of July, and Senda International Capital has filed a notice of appeal to the court of appeal on the 1st of August. So we'll try and get you more details on that. This is on a minority oppression suit where the court had already ruled on it, I think, on the 3rd of July. But nonetheless, we have other stocks in focus now. Marico is in focus ahead of its Q1 numbers. Mangalam is here to tell us what the street expectations are.
Well, Ekta, you know, Marico, just like all the other FMCG companies, is at a record high ahead of numbers. Not particularly cheap, trading at 43 times FY20 earnings as well. So a lot is expected in terms of numbers. 18% revenue growth is what our poll is throwing up in terms of top line growth, which would be backed by 10 to 12% volume growth. Now, the EBITDA growth will not be mirroring the sort of growth that we're seeing on the top line. That's what the street estimates. 12.5% growth on the EBITDA. That's because raw material prices have increased quite a bit, upwards of 40-45% rise that we've seen in copra prices and 25% plus price rise that we've seen in cardi oil prices as well. So the margins likely to decline by about 100 basis points. Net profit growth on the back of that likely to be about 12% in terms of the bottom line. Volume growth 10 to 12%. Individual segments to watch out for in Marico's numbers. Parachute, which accounts for about 36-37% of their India revenues, should grow anywhere between 10 to 15%, and the value-added portfolio is expected to grow much higher. The pain point for Marico has been Saffola, expected to be weak despite a favorable base. In Q1 FY18, Saffola declined by about 9%. On top of that, we're not expecting a very significant growth that came by. The management commentary on international business will be very important because 6 to 8% of their revenue growth is expected to come from the international business. Gains in Bangladesh are likely to be muted or offset by the delay in recovery that we're seeing in Middle East and Vietnam.
Okay, Mangalam, thanks very much. So FMCG in focus, Yamami, Dabur, and we get Marico. Well, from the NBFC space, we've got Indiabulls Housing Finance, which will report numbers, will be keenly watched. Abhishek is here with a quick preview. Abhishek.
Well, Prashant, to begin with, the AUM growth between 30 to 35% will be positive. Last quarter, it was at 34% plus. Now, the spreads, that is the difference between their yields on the AUM minus the cost of funds that they have, has remained largely in line between 3.2 to 3.25%. Last quarter, it declined to 3.11%. So anything above 3.1% will be positive. Their asset quality has largely remained stable with gross NPA ranging between 0.75 to 0.9. So anything below 0.9 will be positive. Last quarter it was at 0.77. What I'll be watching out is the management commentary with respect to how other housing finance companies have stated that the affordable housing sector is seeing supply side constraint and the cost of funds have increased over the last 6 to 9 months, and with liquidity tightness, how they would procure their liability side will be seen closely. Our poll suggests NII growth of 30.4% while net profit to grow at 26.5%. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Abhishek. Thanks very much for giving us that update. But let's get talking about the technicals of the market now. We have Ashwini Gujral joining in for that. Ashwini, hi, over to you. So what's your strategy today? The Nifty is down 70 points and the Bank Nifty, in fact, is down 200.
See, a couple of interesting things have happened in the last 1 hour. The two heroes of today's movie are metals and financials. Now, metals are making highs of the day. Now, that doesn't tally very well with a market that wants to go down on trade war fears. Plus, if you notice, Asian markets have come off their lows. Also, on financials, since we are scared of inflation, crude is lower, metals are lower, plus the market's fallen, I think, 500 points from the highs on Bank Nifty. I think 100 odd. We are close to support. You know, this 50 to 70 zone is very strong support. So my sense is that given the way mid caps have recovered, buying here intraday with a 11,250 type of stop may be a good trade intraday, and chances are Nifty could get back towards 11,340, and similarly Bank Nifty, if you buy right here, I think we could recover 100 plus points if Asia continues to recover, given that we are already in a strong uptrend and this is basically a consolidation. So that way, the morning blues, in my opinion, are possibly done. And from here, the second half could actually see a recovery. Having said that, BPCL is a buy with a stop of 395, target of 420. NCC is a buy with a stop of 90, target of 102. And BEL is a buy with a stop of 115, target of 122.
Okay, thanks for the calls, Ashwini. Some questions coming your way. So RK Raina is writing in with 1,000 shares of Dr. Al Path Labs. Cost is 913 rupees and wants your advice. Way forward for the stock.
A stock that is not moving is like an employee that's not working. So you would throw out both the employee and the stock. I think Avenue Supermart is a good stock. Titan is a very good stock. I think you need to move on. If your stocks haven't moved for last 6 to 8 months, that means there is no interest.
Okay, fair enough, Ashwini. Thanks very much. Appreciate you joining in. 66 lower on the Nifty, 11,280. I just want to highlight that the mid-cap index, by the way, is recovering again. So it was flat, almost coming into the green when we were starting at 11. It sold off about 40 points from there and it's recovered 20. So there is a attempt at a recovery which is underway at this stage. Okay, Manish Kiri, Managing Director at Kiri Industries, is now joining in. They filed with the stock exchanges an update with regards to a case that they had on against Dystar and one more company. I think the ruling has come in from the courts in Singapore where the matter was being heard. Mr. Kiri, thanks for joining in. Can you just very briefly tell us a little bit about the case, the background, and what is the court now saying?
Yeah, thank you for having me. As we have already announced earlier, court had given judgment in favor of Kiri. Singapore International and Commercial Court had given a verdict on July 3rd that the minority operation had taken place on Kiri. Kiri had suffered and they had rewarded accordingly in favor of Kiri in the judgment. And there were 30 days to file an appeal. And today's announcement is to update that the sender, who is Longshan, has filed an appeal on August 1st, which was as on yesterday. So within 30 days of stipulated time, they have filed an appeal to the Supreme Court of Singapore, which was expected actually that they would do so.
Okay, so on July 3rd, what had happened was that the Singapore court had ruled against Senda International, saying that there were numerous cases of oppression, right?
Yes, okay. Correct.
So you had won the case, and now Senda, against whom the case was lost, or the person, right, the party that lost the case, has just filed an appeal for it.
Right. So on July 3rd, court, the judgment was given mentioning that Senda has to buy out Kiri's stake, and the valuation has to be done in a fair manner, and valuation should also include the value of the oppressive act, which Senda has deprived by taking out that value from Dystar. So for Kiri's valuation, that value should be added back, which is pertaining to the oppressive acts. And
Mr. Kiri, just hold on. So what is?
Sure.
So you had some investment in Dystar, right?
Yes, Kiri was 38% shareholder of Dystar.
So you're a minority holder in Dystar,
we were minority
and you alleged that there was minority oppression. Okay.
Right. So we allege minority oppression. We filed suit against them in June 2015.
Okay. Fair enough. And so now you get paid. The court is not saying how much you get paid. I mean, is there an amount which has to be paid to you
The court
as a compensation?
Yes, they have to buy out by paying a fair amount of share value of Daistar to Kiri.
And what would that be? What is fair?
Yeah, that is to be decided going forward. So the August 16 is the case management conference, which will decide on various further actions to be taken, such as valuation of Daistar, time frame for valuation, appointment of an independent valuer or not. All these decisions would be taken into August 16.
So, Mr. Kiri, I'm sure you factored in an appeal from Senda, right?
Yes, we expected that they would file an appeal.
So now, what is the next couple of milestones that we can expect in the case?
You can expect that appeal would be, assuming that appeal is heard, it would take about 3 to 6 months to have the appeal processed in Singapore Supreme Court. We also expect the next management conference to proceed further with the valuation of Daistar.
What did you pay when you got into Daistar? What was your
2010, when we invested into Daistar, it was about 100 crore that we invested in.
And according to you, what's the company worth now? I mean, obviously you have a sense.
Right. If you look at last 5 years profit of Daistar, which is close to about $100 million profit after tax, and last year Daistar touched about a $1 billion top line, sales of $1 billion. So if you can take maybe a minimum 15 PE multiple or something, then 100 million would give you close to that kind of a number. So again, that is the assessment based on the market running value, and we will come to know when actual value is being determined by the independent valuer under the direction and instruction from the court.
Sorry, just to take that forward, $1.5 billion or so. You're saying should be approximately the value. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the running value as per the market based on the profit.
And you own 39% essentially.
38%.
38%. So that proportionately. Okay, fair enough. But as you said, I mean, this will be valued by an independent valuer, and that's sometime in August, as you said. And the case, of course, will go on, and the final settlement is at least 6 months out, right? To this entire.
I think
matter.
so.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, Mr. Kiri, thank you very much. Look forward to hearing from you in an update, maybe post-August, once the valuation, etc., gets done. But that is prima facie positive news for Kiri, 2% higher. Ekta.
But some news with regards to Ericsson and Reliance Communications. So we have Ashmit joining in for a quick update on that. Ashmit, go ahead. What does this mean for Relcom?
Well, the question being asked as of right now is there fresh trouble brewing as far as the Arcom RGO deal is concerned? Now, keep in mind that Ericsson, which had won an arbitral award against Arcom, had sought to enforce that first before the Bombay High Court had also moved the NCLT seeking outstanding dues. At that time, they had been objecting to the sale of assets of Arcom to RGO. They were seeking the payment of their dues first. Now, but after the mediation of the NCLAT, despite them claiming an amount and outstanding dues of 1,600 crores, they had agreed to settle for 550 crores. Now, just as a matter of procedure, the case was up before the apex court since the appeal had been pending there. But clearly, in what appears to be a U-turn, Ericsson has clarified now that it is objecting to this settlement. It is not happy with the settlement, that it could perhaps seek changes as far as the settlement is concerned. So in a manner of speaking, a U-turn coming in as far as Ericsson is concerned. Keep in mind that as of right now, they haven't made their objections clear before the apex court. They will be arguing that tomorrow morning. That's when the apex court is scheduled to hear it. But clearly, this could be more trouble brewing as far as the Arcom RGO deal is concerned, especially keeping in mind that this comes on the back of the DOT looking to cancel the spectrum as far as Arcom is concerned. That was another case where SBI-led lenders had in fact moved the DOT, asking them to reconsider their decision. So again, coming fresh on the back of the DOT's decision, this could spell perhaps more trouble for the Arcom RGO deal going forward.
Okay, all right, Ashmit. Thanks very much for bringing us that update. In fact, talking about telecom stocks, just look at Bharti Airtel. It's now at the low point of the day for that stock. Remember, it's already lost around 25% plus in terms of its market cap year to date. So currently down around 2.3% for Bharti Airtel, low point of the day for that particular stock. Don't know if there's any sort of news attached, but there's been a bit of a sudden fall that's taken place. Take a break. But up next, we'll discuss market fundamentals. Sanjay Sinha, founder of Citrus Advisors, will be with us.
Okay, 55 lower on the Nifty. The mid-cap index is again, in a way, threatening to break higher into the green. 10 points lower, 18,895. I mean, that's the part of the market where there is this swing which is happening. But it's a near 19,000 index, and the swing is about mere 50-odd points up and down. Sanjay Sinha is founder, Citrus Advisors. He's joining us right now on the show. Sanjay, thanks very much. Good to have you here. You know, the markets are at elevated levels, at least the Nifty is.
Pleasure, Prashant.
And there is once again all this talk of, you know, trade wars and trade spat, etc., etc. Are we past kind of reacting to these news items in a big way until and unless something conclusively does happen? Or do you think, given where we are in terms of levels, you know, this could be a good enough ruse to get the market sharply lower?
No, I think, you know, these events which you mentioned, I think, you know, they will be a risk to the market regardless of at whatever absolute level of index that we are standing at. You know, the tariff war, if it escalates and becomes a serious issue, even probably when we were at 10,500 points of Nifty, it would have been a risk. At above 11,000 points also, it is going to be a risk. In my personal opinion, I think for most parts of 2018, the Nifty is likely to be trading above 11,000 points. This I am saying because, you know, after 3 financial years, it is quite likely that, you know, FY19, we will most likely have a double-digit earnings growth on the Nifty EPS. And I think that is one of the primary reasons why the market is today trading at 11,000 levels. And I think that should be sustained.
Sanjay, what's your advice to a lot of retail investors who have stocks which are pulling their portfolio down? I mean, everyone knows the dichotomy, but a lot of people's average portfolios are significantly lower despite these record highs. So what's your sense there?
So I think, you know, there are 2 things here. One is, you know, easy to say, difficult to practice. One of the biggest thing that people need at this point of time in the market is patience. Even if you look at the Nifty, out of 50 stocks, I think just about 20 stocks are trading positive compared to the previous high, and almost 30 of them have still not reclaimed the levels where they were trading when the Nifty was at the previous high. And if you look at the sectoral composition of these 20 stocks, they will be confined to 3 major sectors: IT, consumption, and the private sector lenders. If you look at what is dragging the Nifty down, it would be the likes of, you know, the cyclicals and the public sector banks, so on and so forth. I think that itself is telling you what is the need of the hour. If we don't expect the interest rates to come down in the, say, the next 6 to 12 months, then I think the cyclicals will not recover. But if we are likely to see that recovery happen, then I think it's quite possible that, you know, these laggard sectors of the market will also participate. But what is actually worrying the retail investors more is the fact that the mid-cap index has still not participated the way the Nifty and Sensex have. You know, year to date, I think the Nifty and the Sensex are up 7% or so. Compared to the lows that the Nifty and Sensex had touched in the end of March 2018, we are up almost 14–15%. The mid-cap index still haven't come anywhere close to that. So given the heady returns that the investors have got from the mid-cap segment in calendar year 2016, calendar year 2017, 2018 is demanding a lot of patience from them. My view is that, you know, if we are bullish on the market and we expect the next 12, 24, 36 months to be positive for the Indian markets, quite surely the mid-cap index is going to outperform the large-cap index. So therefore, what is important is that, you know, the stock selection, the quality of the portfolio that you have, I think that if it needs to be rejigged, only that needs to be done. As far as the exposure to mid-cap, and if that is the one which is dragging the overall portfolio returns down, if that is worrying you, I think patience is something that is called for.
Patience is called for. That is sound advice. Sanjay, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Always good to have you with us here on the channel. Thanks indeed, Sanjay Sinha, with his thoughts on the market. Thinks mid-caps should outperform large caps over a period of the next 6 odd months or so. We take a very quick break here. We'll come right back and we speak with the management at Orient Paper. They reported numbers yesterday. Paper stocks, I mean, today the market's down and out, but yesterday all kinds of paper stocks were up between 10-15%. So something changing. We have the management at Orient joining us in just a bit.
Welcome back. Well, just pull up Sequence Scientific. That stock is spiked up around 11 to 12%. This is on the back of news that their arm, which is in Turkey basically, has got the EU certificate or a EU GMP nod for that particular plant, and that's the reason why it's spiked up around 10 to 11%. They have strong operations, in fact, in Turkey as well as Europe. So this would mean continuity of operations and hence would be a positive for that company. But Orient Paper, in fact, reported numbers for its first quarter. We have with us the management of the company, Mr. ML Paschisia, the MD, joining in to discuss the numbers this quarter. Hi, sir. Thanks very much for joining in. Well, it's been an operational improvement this quarter. That seems to stand out the most. What led to this 400 basis points increase?
Well, yes, certainly. In fact, the results should have been even better. Because we had taken a 21 days long-term maintenance shut, some plant upgradation. Otherwise, the result should have been even better than what we have reported as of now, which we have explained in the notes to the accounts. So certainly there have been operational improvement, there have been cost reduction in several areas.
Okay, can it continue?
We see no reason why not.
So 18% or more or less, what would be the average you think according to you, based on what your current foresight is for the year?
I normally do not want to make any long-term guidance. But we have no problem, no issue. Our new tissue paper capacity is now working well, and we have exporting substantial quantity of our tissue paper abroad. So obviously the markets, both in India as well as overseas, look reasonably good. And so therefore we should expect continuation of good results in the coming.
So out of the numbers that you've showed, there's about 11 crores of profit on account of sale of land, right?
Yeah.
So
that is correct. Yeah.
If we adjust that, then I mean actually it's a sharp fall as compared to last year.
No, there is no shortfall.
I mean, sorry, it would be, yeah. I mean, it's flat basically then, right, as compared to last year. Approximately the same.
Still
number.
better than last year, certainly, because the profit before tax is 27 crores this year.
Yeah.
But please keep in mind that this is after the loss of production for 21 days. Last year we had a full working during the first quarter.
Sure.
And this quarter there is a 21-day shutdown of the plant. So the volumes are lower. As you can see, the top line is also lower. So, but still the profit is better.
Okay. What are the 2 or 3 big variables for you from here? I mean, are newsprint prices going to be really volatile? Value-added products, I mean, what is the contribution from there? Just qualitatively, can you just talk about how business is going to look like for you from your perspective?
Incidentally, we do not make any newsprint. We are basically tissue paper and printing paper.
Okay.
Yeah. So the tissue paper is the value-added product, where our volumes have now increased, and the ratio between writing, printing, and tissue paper is now 55% writing printing paper and 45% tissue paper. And that 45% is going to go increase because the new plant is now stabilizing. And so therefore the better results are coming out of the value-added tissue paper that we are producing.
Okay. Any more divestment on the cards? Non-core assets?
No, this was a small piece of land which we had in the forest center. There are 1 or 2 other properties which are non-core, small properties, nothing of substantial nature, which we will divest as and when there is an opportunity.
Okay, all right. We're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. So that's the view coming in from Orient Paper. Stock down around 3% odd. Operational improvement stood out this quarter. Other income has been boosted because of a sale of land. But we need to take a break now. More on the market-specific stocks once we're back. Stay tuned.
Okay, welcome back. I have to quickly point out that finally the mid-cap index is in the green. I think for the first time today. It's up almost 10 points. It'll come up on your screen. There you go. So just turn green and let's see if it sort of keeps going. The small cap index is also just 1.5 odd points lower. So almost in the green there as well. The insurance sector is buzzing. I mean, as SBI General prepares for its much-awaited IPO, there is an impending transaction which is likely to get executed before that. Pushpan Mahapatra, the managing director and CEO of the company, spoke with Yash Jain, my colleague, about all that and also threw some light on the Supreme Court's order on mandatory long-term motor third-party insurance, which essentially has to be implemented from the 1st of September, and the implications on insurance companies. Listen.
All new vehicles have to come with a 3-year third-party cover for motor cars, four-wheelers, and a 5-year cover for two-wheelers.
Okay, and is this both for motor third party as well as a comprehensive policy, or is this only for?
Order is very clear, it is for motor third party.
Would this lead to a jump as far as the premium from motor segment is concerned? And if
yes, it is too early to assess that
because
position.
I am going by the thinking that otherwise there would be a lapse in terms of renewal a lot of times with a lot of policies, which there's no scope for now if you give them a 5-year or a 3-year policy. In that sense, but that lapse would...
But the pricing of that becomes more complicated.
Do you think that the pricing would increase from the current?
It's too early to say anything because at the council level, we are discussing on this as to what is going to be the product that we will have to bring in future. But the fact is, on 1st of September, we have to ensure that we have the 3-year TP. 3-year and 5-year TP portion.
The Australia Insurance Group is looking to hike its stake from the current 26%. What are the discussions which you've had with the foreign partner? And to my understanding, it's going to be a shareholder-driven transaction from State Bank of India to the foreign partner. How does this flow? How soon can we expect an announcement on this?
See, this is the dial-up option is there as per the joint venture agreement.
Absolutely.
IG had given their intention to dial up, and the two shareholders have to take it forward. That's our this thing.
If they intend to dial up, which you say that they have expressed the intention, from the current 26%, to what point have they expressed the intention?
I think
is it 35? Is it 49?
See, it's a shareholder-driven transaction.
Yeah, but what are the initial conversations?
Really, see, we as a company do not have exposure to that.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to wrap up trading hours. Stay tuned. Halftime report just after a short break.